Welcome to Mark Dillon's Plant-Based Conversations. I'm your host, Mark Dillon. Now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you might be saying, well, hold on, something's a little bit different here. What's going on? Let's get into that. On today's show, I'd like to share with you some information about the name change to the podcast, and then secondly, provide some information to help you bring plant-based food into your life. Let's begin first by talking about the name change. Very simply, the word vegan can mean many different things to different people, and oftentimes when people hear the word vegan, they think that it encompasses everything as one big thing. In other words, if you eat vegan food, then that also means that you are out protesting animal use, that you don't wear any clothing that may have any kind of leather or wool or silk, that you don't go to zoos or to aquariums, that you don't buy any kinds of products that might be tested on animals, like cosmetics or cleaning products or things like that. In other words, it means a lot to a lot of different people. And of course, this show is all about eating plant-based food. And so I realized to really speak to people who are looking to find out information about plant-based and not all the other stuff, let's be really clear just in the title itself about what this show is all about. Now, of course, when I'm interviewing people on the show, they're going to talk about their passions and many of their reasons why they eat plant-based. And of course, that may include many of those different parts that are also part of vegan. But I want to be really clear that this show is all about helping you to bring plant-based food into your life. Next week's show, I had the chance to sit down with a mindfulness meditation teacher who not only is going to share some information about mindfulness, but he himself has been eating plant-based for a couple of decades. So tune in for that next Wednesday. But for today, let's get into something that you can actually start bringing into your life now and taking a look at to see if it can help you to eat plant-based. I'd like to share with you today some things that I see that often come up online, and I've heard it directly from people as well, and what I find as really wrong information being put out there. Many times people will share as they're exploring eating plant-based that they, and I'll use their words here, they slip. And they have some cheese or they have some egg, and then they post something in a discussion group and they'll say, oh, I slipped and I had this last night. Now, the problem that I see is not that somebody slips. I think for most people, this is a transition. That's kind of natural, and you're learning as you're going, you're making changes in your life, and that's all perfectly fine. But what I see as a problem is the response that people give others to that slip or to that kind of transition point. Many times what I see is people will post something along these lines. You need to watch this documentary, which will tell you about the horrible conditions. You'll see these images and you'll get it. Or you'll understand that how bad this is for your body or for the environment or for whatever. Now, let me say, first of all, the people that are sharing this, it's coming from a good place. They want to see you to succeed and, they want you to do well with this. But I think that what they're sharing is actually harmful in many ways. And here's why. Those types of images are very negative, right? Do you really need to take that in? I mean, at some level, my guess is that you get it. You understand the horrible conditions. You understand the situations on what it does to the body or the planet or the animals. You get that. But let me ask you this. How often do negative images bring about positive results? How beneficial really is it for you to see something really terrible or some real major suffering for you yourself to be motivated to make a positive change? You see, I would say this. Look for positive images, even just those that you create yourself in your own mind. For example, if you did have some cheese, instead of thinking about something horrible or something really negative, think about something positive. Think about eating great fresh food, plant-based food that makes you feel good and empowered and really fuels your body. That's a more positive sensation and can bring about a more positive change. Does that make sense? You see, those kinds of negative images, in my opinion, don't bring about positive changes. And you get it at one level. Do you really need to keep seeing that over and over and over and over again? How good is that for our own psyche? How good does that really make you feel? Here's another thing that you could do. Instead of looking at a movie that somebody else has created, what if you simply looked at what the conditions were where that came up for you? So if you did eat cheese, wouldn't it make more sense to really take a look mindfully and just notice, why did that happen? Did I want to feel a part of the group? Did I want to have that taste? Did I miss it? Did I crave it? Was I really hungry and I wasn't well prepared? In other words, by looking at the actual situation, you can then make actual changes so that that situation doesn't happen again. You might determine, well, I was really hungry and I had been running around all day. I didn't have time. And there it was. And I felt weak at that moment. And so I went and did it. I wish I hadn't. Okay, great. You see that. Like, to see that in itself, that is so much more empowering because you start to understand how you are conditioned and you start to see what you could do then to not fall into those habits or that conditioned habit. And you might decide, okay, well, next time when that situation comes up, I know that I'm going to be busy. I know that I'm not going to have a lot of time, so I'll pack something the night before, or on the way to that meeting, I'll pick up something, an apple or a banana or some grapes or something like that. In other words, you find the solution instead of going outside and just taking in negative information and that negative energy. Believe me, that kind of stuff really does make a difference in your own life. If you watch negative images, how positive are you going to feel? This is all about you and your journey. Think about this. Living your life in a way where you feel great about the food that you're eating, where you feel great about the food choices that you're making, where you feel empowered, and you're actually living your life in the way that you want, not falling into the habits and the conditioning that you've been running into. In other words, you're taking control of your life and you're fully living your life in the way that you want to do that. That's so much more powerful than going at it from a negative energy point of view. That won't uplift you to watch a horrible movie or a horrible video, but it will empower you if you understand maybe why that happened and discover the solution for yourself to how you can make it so that that doesn't happen for you again. Okay, next week, as I mentioned, I have on the show a mindfulness meditation teacher who's going to share his plant-based journey with you. And then, of course, some information to help you to bring more mindfulness into your life, which would really be fantastic when those kinds of situations do come up, where you might be questioning, well, how could I do this better? If you have a mindful awareness, you can figure out things so much more clearly. Until next week, when we get together, go enjoy some great plant-based food. Take care.